So, Henry, listen, man, I know we did not get an opportunity to connect while you were in Ghana and I was in Ghana. You know, schedules didn't collab like they needed to. But when I saw the work that you're doing and then heard more about your story, I said, I have to get it in front of people. So, listen, as always, do me a favor, just give us a brief intro of who you are and then the business that you're developing in Ghana.
Sure, absolutely. And thank you, Tim, for taking the time also. So my name is Henry Asenso. I'm the founder and CEO of Kuro Africa. What we do at Kuro is we help people who are thinking about relocating or businesses that look to expand in West Africa and Ghana and across Africa by supporting them with data analysis. So we combine a lot of different data sources to provide an overview of what's the current situation in terms of prices of property, land, rental prices, attractions in particular areas, healthcare providers, schools. So, we've combined it over 1 million different data points to actually provide an overview and a self-serve searchable dashboard that you can start making informed decisions around Africa. I've always, especially, well, primarily Ghana for now, we intend to expand. I've always had a strong calling towards Ghana, being a Ghanaian myself. I was also one of those kids where we were often threatened with, if you're not well behaved, we'll send you back to Ghana. And I got sent back to Ghana kind of late 90s and schooled in Ghana for a few years. And that really did change my outlook on life and have a real appreciation for education, seeing people that were really, going out, really hustling to be able to go to school, maybe value school in a completely different way than I did when I was schooling in the UK. So over the last 10 years or so, I've been going back and forth to Ghana, trying to understand what's the best way for me to manage that transition, what are the key elements. And in doing so, I've picked up a lot of new skills and built a platform that helps me stay connected to Ghana and help others.
Okay. Listen, it seems like right now everybody and their mama are trying to get back to Ghana.
Yeah.
British born Ghanaian. Let me ask you a question, Henry. I mean, listen, is being in the UK really that bad to where you're trying to relocate to Ghana? Or is just there's so much more good in Ghana that you're not necessarily getting away from something, but you're going towards something? What everybody and mama coming back to Ghana. Why specifically for you guys?
That's a really good question, because I think when I started this journey, I think I was trying to get away from something, kind of the day-to-day rat race, kind of maybe feeling not as well assimilated to the corporate environment, kind of socially and those kind of things. But over time, as I really was intentional with my journey, I began to realize it's not something, the West isn't something you should be running away from. You should actually be comfortable wherever you are and happy wherever you are. And I've come to that place now. So it's less so, oh, I'm running away from something. Definitely not. We are perfectly fine in the UK. In fact, our life would probably be more convenient and comfortable in the UK. However, my wife and I, my wife is Ghanaian as well, have always had this intention to create value in Ghana. And primarily as well, I think I'd be 10 times more useful to Ghana than I am to the UK in a way. But I think it's important as part of your transition not to be running away from something, because then you can have false expectations, etc. There is this kind of underlying narrative that the grass is greener in Africa, etc. But there are a lot of challenges that make life more difficult. So you have to be well-informed and honest and logical with your decision. The portal to Africa and to Ghana, they call it the calling. I think everyone feels that calling. However, that doesn't mean you up sticks in an irrational way. You still have to be measured. You still have to be well informed. So for me, my thing is I'm not running away from anything at all. Far from it. I'd like the flexibility to go back and forth as I choose, to be honest. But I'd love for my home base, and that's what we're planning towards, to be Ghana.
That's a really unique way of looking at it, because I often have conversations with people and they're like, I have to get away from the UK. I'm running away from the US. I got a lot of friends that look at some of these places like it's Babylon, and they're on holy pilgrimage back home, and
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't want to disrespect where anybody's kind of spiritual
Mm-hmm.
leaning is and towards. But the truth is, I tell people, listen, when you come to Ghana, listen, we were just protesting. I mean, I wasn't there, I was out of the country, but Ghana was just protesting a few weeks ago about the problems that people are experiencing every single day. So there is challenges, but I do
Yeah.
believe, right? You mentioned something that I want to hit on. You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that it's not necessarily getting away from something, but kind of as you all are assessing your life and looking at
Mm-hmm.
where can I have a deeper impact and deeper meaning. I think that going back to your roots and going back to a place that you find to be home is where
Mm-hmm.
you want to have a legacy. And I think that is the deeper part that helps people to really kind of live through the wahala that Ghana will give you
Yeah.
to be sustained. And so
Mm-hmm.
a part of that is also adding value. And I think that one of the areas that we significantly lack is being able to make data-driven decisions based on real-time informative data that
Mm-hmm.
helps us look at the landscape that we're in. And that's exactly what you're doing. So I want to jump straight into the
Mm-hmm.
business. Tell us more about it, and then hopefully we'll get some live demos of like how it actually works.
Yeah, sure. So, you know, Kuro Africa is actually being built off the back of my journey and preparation towards moving back to Ghana. So one thing my wife and I discussed, because when we were originally looking to move back, we didn't have children. Now we do. We have one child, which completely changes the landscape of how you plan. You know, you're thinking about education and all those kind of things. And what I found in my searches for real estate, I wanted to have some sort of investment or skin in the game in Ghana, whether it be land, a business, etc. And when I was trying to make these kind of decisions, I found that the information was very disparate. I didn't know when the next infrastructure project was coming that would, help my asset appreciate. So it made it difficult. And so when I took a sabbatical in 2019, year of return. And during that year of return period, I probably was the only person who never left my house. I had a list of different business opportunities that I was just checking through in a lean startup method, no emotion. Does this work? Does it not? And eventually I came to a point where I was like, okay, I'm going to do short-term rental management. I'd done a bit in the UK and I thought, yes, this could work. And then COVID hit, borders closed. It's non-viable business anymore. So I came back to the UK and I knew that just through normal macro trends, when some big kind of event like COVID happens, usually people lose jobs, etc. So I said to myself, well, now from my experience of going back and forth to Ghana, I know that I need a solid currency income whilst living there, and I need to be able to work remotely. So what skills are most valuable? And the skill set that I came to was around data and analytics. So when I started to learn more and more about data, I was like, okay, hold on a second. This can really help me make my decisions when it comes to Ghana. So I was able to build the skill set around collection of data, analyzing data, spotting trends, and building a dashboard that made it easy to search. And I said, okay, I could actually make this available to other people and it'd be useful to them. So over the next 2.5, 3 years, I built Kuro Africa. And Kuro Africa is a self-serve platform that allows you to look town by town. We have over 500 towns across Ghana in the platform. It will tell you average, median, maximum prices, price distribution. We've got some more features that are being built right now around population changes in particular areas from the 2010 to the 2021 census. So actually it really acts as a prime planning tool. We also have insight articles in the platform where kind of distills the data into more digestible content around, month by month, we do an update to say, okay, what's the high tier, mid tier, low tier areas to rent, buy, sell, buy land, everything from recommended real estate agents, recommended architects, steps in particular process. So I write at least one of those a week for my members to kind of get some additional insight. So really built on 3 pillars: the data lab, which is kind of like the flagship piece, the insight articles, and then the resources. So things that help you on your journey.
Okay, so then walk me through, let's say I am a real estate emerging, not a developer, let's say investor.
Yep.
And I hear this, and then someone who may not have the level of, kind of like technology understanding. How can this app or how can this technology help me out?
Yeah, sure. So maybe it's a good opportunity to maybe share my screen and actually walk through an example. So let me just share my screen. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So here's the website, which gives you an overview of what Kuro does and how it works. And here's some screenshots from the platform itself. But what happens is once you sign up and go into the member area, remember I was telling you about three areas: data lab, insights, and resources. So to your example, if I go into the data lab now, what starts to load is a dashboard, right? So in this dashboard, you've got various views that would help you as a real estate investor or developer. So you've got the for rent, for sale, and land. You've got infrastructure, trends. Wow. And so, for example, if you were to say, okay, do you know what? I had this question recently. I'm looking at the Ningo Pram Pram area, and you select Ningo Pram Pram as a district. It will give you the towns that are in Ningo Pram Pram that are in the platform, the minimum price you pay for rent, the median price of what's occurring most, your average price, and kind of your maximum price. And you have a map here, which is very interactive, where you can hover over a particular area and it will say, okay, this is the Ningo Pram Pram area, this is the average price, this is the average bedroom size. Or if we were to take maybe a little bit more known area, let's say East Legon.
Yeah. Now the currency that you see or that I see, is this CDs or is this USD? What currency are we looking at?
This is cities. This is cities.
Okay.
Yeah, this is cities. So, being a patriotic Ghanaian, I feel like everything should be priced in cities. So the platform is taking that same angle. So I'm just picking towns right now, right? So East Legon, Achimota cantonments. So what you'll see is the values are changing, right? So with these three towns selected, the median price is 9,000. The average price is 15,000, which is effectively like $1,500 if you want to divide it by 10, right? And then maximum all the way up to 282,000 cities. But we can go area by area. So we could say, okay, just show me cantonments. And it will show you, okay, cantonments is more expensive. Show me Achimota. Achimota is cheaper. And you get a list of data points or properties that have been analyzed. And you can see by price what people would be expected to pay. And also you have, if I hover over here, it gives you an overview of East Legon, what it is, the average price, average bedroom, schools found, attractions in the area, and infrastructure projects that are coming up. Now, the infrastructure projects are constantly being updated to make sure that it's in line with what's current. And you can see on this map here, these three bubbles indicate the three areas. And the bigger the bubble, the bigger the average price. So you can see cantonments at a view is the most expensive, then East Legon, and then Achimota. But what makes it really interesting, and even for me and myself, is that you can start to pick areas that are relatively affordable, but are in closer to the center of town. So that's how Kuro works. And we can see the same information when it comes to property for sale. So it will hold those same filters. So Achimota, cantonments, East Legon, average price is 5.5 million cedis, which is about $550,000. But if I was to take cantonments, that's more expensive. That's your Beverly Hills of Accra. If I was to take Achimota only, then you start to see some more reasonable prices. And you could do this for any town. And you could also do this from a land perspective as well.
Quick question. So you said that for the data that's feeding the system, what is the parameters for which it stretches over Ghana?
It's the whole of Ghana.
The whole of Ghana. Okay, all right.
Ghana. So I've just taken off all the filters, and you can start to see all the different towns that have been collected around Ghana. And the great thing about this is we can just use the map to even search. So if we dive into the map specifically, and it's like, okay, cool, you can start to see the areas, the bigger the bubble, the larger the price. But you can also use this lasso tool. So in Ghana, the main interchange is around Tetekwashi, which is like where Accra Mall is, and that kind of feeds you out to different northwest, south parts of Accra. So if you wanted to be in and around town, you could use this lasso tool. Hopefully it works. Yes, it does. And you could say, all right, just give me everything in this area, right? And immediately it filters everything. And here you can see by town, what's the average price, right? And we can say, all right, give me average price descending. And it will start telling you, here's the most expensive areas in the areas that you've selected. Here are the more affordable ones. So you could be like, okay, I'm moving to Ghana, or I want to buy a property in Ghana. I want to be relatively close. My most affordable option is Agbogba, which is actually quite a good location. It's quite close to the university. North Legon is right opposite the university. Dome is more near Achimota, which has a great renowned school. So you start to get a viewpoint, and you can say, all right, well, I just want to look at Dome. And then it will filter everything just for Dome. And then
this is a game changer, man. I'm excited about this because as I look at it, I see that this is a game changer, not just for investors, not just for agents, but I think for just the average person that's trying to get some data around how to make decisions regarding real estate. This is incredible, man. Just out of curiosity, I mean, where do I go, man, if my budget is 300 CDs a month for rent?
Well, let's do it. I mean, the thing is, and the funny thing is, you know, it's not like that price isn't available. It's just what are you going to get for that, right? So we can do by search by price, right? So let's say 300 to 1,000 cities, right? Now the data automatically filters and it shows you, oh, sorry, this is for sale. So you're not going to get nothing in that price range for sale. But for rent, you've now seen, okay, it's filtered the towns and it's saying, okay, Amasaman, Batswana, which is near Spintex, Community 25, the average price is 1,000 cedis. But if you go all the way down to the bottom, you start to see Sunyani, etc., Kwewu, like the further out areas. So it gives you a representation of if that's your budget, but this is where you're going to end up going. And the vast majority of things are apartments in that price range, right? And you could do the same for bedrooms or type. So if you're saying, okay, do you know what? I've got a family of 4, so we need a 4-bedroom place at a maximum, 4-bedroom at a minimum. This will probably show you, okay, and now it's okay, it's giving you less and less areas, but you know, you can get a 4-bedroom place in Kaswa for 1,000 cedis a month, right? So there are options, it's just where are they going to be? Kumasi, etc. And if I was to say, okay, let's put this up to 10,000, so that's about $1,000 roughly, and say, okay, I only want to look at houses, the data automatically filters. And not only that, so then now it's saying, okay, you can get something in Jowolu for 10,000 cities or close to it. Romans, these are prime areas, right? But what are you actually going to get? You know, a 4-bedroom house potentially. What state it will be, you'll have to go and do your own research. But this was just the beginning for me. This was the early part of Kuro. But what I realized was going to be useful is, okay, what does that mean in terms of infrastructure? What can I get in East Legon, let's say Achimota, and then Jowolu? So, okay, cool. We got these 3 areas. There are 53 schools. The vast majority are creches. There's junior high schools. There's kindergartens. There's universities, etc. And you can say, all right, just show me the universities. It'll tell you, right? And that's for those 3 areas. You want to just pick one, it will then give you the view on one area. So there's 17,000 schools in the platform. There's about 800 attractions. So if we go to attractions now, it will say, okay, there's 9 attractions in this area. Accra Mall, Accra Zoo, etc. And again, you can just pick each area and tell you what's there and what isn't there, right?
Wow. This reminds me of, so in the States, we have a lot of these platforms, but one of them is like a Zillow or
Mm-hmm.
Realtor.com,
Mm-hmm.
where I remember when I was first trying to come to Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that there would be something similar, right? Like a Realtor.com, where I can just
Mm-hmm.
go online and just search apartments and
Mm-hmm.
houses and
Mm-hmm.
get actual real information.
Mm-hmm.
And then I quickly realized that, man, we don't have that. Like I'm not going to name the sites, but I went to a few of the most popular sites that pop up, and oh my goodness, it was a nightmare. I mean, because
Mm-hmm.
the crazy thing is, now that I've been in Ghana for 4 years, there are literally, Henry,
Mm-hmm.
the same listings
Yep.
of the same places,
Yep.
with the same pictures, just re-updated from when I was looking at these houses and apartments from years ago.
Yep.
And then, I mean, we don't need to talk about all the craziness that comes with sometimes trying to validate the information that you see.
Yep.
But this right here, again, I believe is a game changer for those who will get access to it. We'll talk about that in a moment, how we can get access to this, because there's so much information that, like, to have it at your fingertips, especially in the day where AI has been here for a while, but now it's becoming more prevalent and pervasive in our society, especially where, like, we need to have access to important information to make important decisions right here and right now. Like, we don't have time to call the realtor and, oh, Masa, can you tell me what the price is? Charlie, we don't have time. We don't have time.
Yeah.
So So anyway, so this is great, man. Now, how can folks tell us about the person out there watching this? They've seen it, they love it. How can I access this?
Yeah, sure. So I'll just touch on the last section really quickly, just so everyone's aware. So what we also have is trends. So we've been collecting data for over 18 months. So what's the trends of prices over time? And this is specific for actually that search criteria, right? So as you can see, there's an overall increase in prices. The green line's average, blue line's median. But if I took off and said, okay, all properties, you'll start to see some of the data change. So if I said no 0 to 4 bedrooms, everything will have its own trend line. Achimota 0 to 4 bedrooms, Jolu 0 to 4, etc. So that's that, and that gives you the trends for sales, rent, and also land prices as well. So that's the complete suite when it comes to the data lab itself. To access, it's a subscription-based platform, and with that subscription, you will get access to our member events. So we hold monthly member sessions. We just had one. We're going to every last Friday, where we discuss current topics, everything from Bank of Ghana going bankrupt, the protests, etc. We'll talk about the real elements of Ghana, because there can be a sugar-coated perspective, and you need the real perspective. And you get access to all those insight articles I was talking about. So they are compartmentalized into relocating, investing, business, construction, real estate, resources. All of these are made available to you. You can access this simply by going to kuroafrica.com and selecting the insights area, some of which are premium to our members only, others are free to read. So we've done everything from reports on the new affordable housing project in Ghana and how it relates to previous ones and where their downfall was. And then you've got things that are resource-based, like 7 affordable lawyers, 5 affordable architects. We've also done a real estate trends report last year, which gives you an overview of economic and real estate trends. This is all available to our members. So to become a member, let me just go back to the main page. You effectively have 3 options. You could either join our weekly newsletter, which is completely free. And you just join, you get a number of different insights. I'll give you updates and latest from the platform. You can join as an elite member, which is a monthly subscription, currently $24 a month, and we bill every other month. So you pay for 2 months. I've made a discount code for you specifically, Tim, and your audience. So that's Swain30, and that will give you 30% off your entire membership, not just your first payment, but you'll get 30% off continuously. And that's where you get access to the data lab, the premium blogs, and the resources. Or you could book a one-to-one consultation. If it's just a one-off thing that you want to discuss, you can go ahead and book a one-to-one consultation. And then I can actually guide you through the platform, answer your questions. They seem to go down really well. because people may not want to necessarily use the platform themselves, and they just want that one-time insight. So those are the three ways you can get involved with Kuro.
Well, thank you for breaking it down, making it really simple. I can tell you this from my years of experience being here in Ghana, that time is money. And the more time you spend trying to get information that you need to make decisions, the more it costs you. Like, I mean, we don't have time to go into detail, but I'm telling you, Jesus Christ. I mean, I spent so much time trying to get information like this. Like, I would call people, and people would, it was bananas. I'll say that. I mean, sometimes you will spend weeks trying to find out something very simple, something as simple as, what is the average rent in this area? Like, seriously. Like, and people who've never been to Ghana or lived in a context like this, like, sometimes they can't fathom it, because if you're from like a more developed nation, that's not just Europe or the US, but any other developed nation, you have so much access to information right at your fingertips. And the thing is, for people like yourself who are young, who've experienced life outside of Ghana, who have a passion for the country and the continent, we need those different skill sets. And I think that this particular area of development, which is, data, it's necessary. It's necessary. So I'm sure that as you guys are on your journey en route to Ghana, that you've heard maybe some feedback about this platform that you have. Maybe just give us a few examples of some feedback that you've heard from some of your clients.
Yeah, so we've had some great feedback, kind of echoing some of the sentiments you've just mentioned, in terms of we've always needed this kind of information. It's never been available. We've had some challenging feedback as well. This is based on asking price data. It'd be ideal if we had sold data or agreed rental price data, but unfortunately they just don't collect that in Ghana at the moment. And I think that's something that I want to get involved in and start the conversation around, but that's more of a longer term project. Sometimes we get some feedback as to why I can't find this particular area, and I have to go back in the back end, check the data, because sometimes when you pull it, someone may call one area Tema, but in another perspective, it's Ningo Pram Pram. So we've kind of standardized our data to make sure that actually it all aligns with what it's actually supposed to be, as opposed to what people think it is. So we've had some great feedback. We've got some partners in the real estate industry now that are using this platform. It gives them an edge over the competition. People who are planning their moves have been very appreciative of it, because now, I'll give you an example. When I was in the initial stages of building this, I'll just stop the share now. When I was in the initial stages of building this, I was going from place to place trying to find out a piece of land, and I went to a place quite far out in the Pram Pram area, and I was like, so how much is it for a plot? And they were like, oh, it's like, this was a while ago, maybe 3 years ago. 80,000 cedis. And I went into my platform and I was like, well, the average price here is 40. So what can we do? And the agent was like, how did you know that? And I was like, well, this is what I'm building. Can I get access to it? Yes, you can, if you get me this land for 40,000 cedis. So it's and I think a lot of the time in Ghana, it's anecdotal pricing. People go off what somebody told them, or my cousin said that this sold for this in this area, and hey, so and so sold this for 5 million and blah blah blah. But in real terms, what is it? What's the average asking price across that area? So it really was a tool to help myself, and then I knew that this could help so many other people in their transition. And we're not just ending there. As I said, we're bringing population data in soon. I'm working with a team of developers that I've found in Ghana to build a mobile responsive website. At the moment, you can access this only on desktop, especially the data lab. Everything else you can access on mobile. And we intend to do more countries. So yeah, we've had mixed feedback, and mostly positive. I'd say 90% positive, 5% inquisitive, like, oh, can I find this, or do you have that? And it takes a simple change in the back end to make sure that the data is reflecting correctly, and then they're over the moon. And then the last 5% is probably people who are used to having this information even at a 10-fold better position in terms of sold prices, and that saying, oh, why doesn't Ghana have geocoding along with land registry. I'm like, my guy, I can only do so much. I'm working on it. But that's the kind of feedback we get. But it's all important because it's all ideas for feature build in the future.
Well, when I first heard about Kuro Africa, and I saw actually what it is, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It made sense. And because I've been here so long, I recognize that I think this is a big step in the right direction, particularly on how to make data-driven decisions about things that are really important, such as where you live, where you buy, where you invest. And yeah, I think it's dope, man. And so the last question I have for you is, I know that you guys are planning on relocating, and you talked about the future for other countries, but any recommendations, let's say, for someone like yourself that's maybe a British-born Ghanaian or somewhere else, US-born Ghanaian, and they're trying to decide whether or not they want to invest some of their skills and their talents back in the continent. What kind of advice would you give to them?
I would say, please do. I think some of the nations that have evolved tremendously from a point of developing into developed have leveraged their global diaspora, bringing them back to provide expertise. I'd say, please do. What I would say as well is when you're thinking about moving, reorientate your life towards Ghana, even when you're in the West. Go to the events that are about Ghana, Africa, investment, build your networks around that. Actually, in the event section for Kuro, we're going to start putting in global events that we find online so that our members are aware of what's happening. Also, just stay attached. So for example, when my wife and I were planning, we both agreed that, well, we need some sort of business vehicle that keeps us tethered to Ghana. So my wife has her own business. I have Kuro, obviously. I have other ideas, but every time I go to Ghana, and I go often twice a year, I'll be back again in a few weeks, I go and I'm doing something for my wife, collecting more stock, researching more information. So if you have that connect especially, British-born Ghanaians or diaspora-born Ghanaians, you have a connect, you have family, etc. I would definitely say, it's our home at the end of the day. We don't have anywhere else to call home. We've been fortunate enough to be in the West and benefit from that. Use that advantage to help enable Ghana. Even one thing I was thinking about before this call, actually, Tim, is, some people work in public sector and they're in these public sector organizations and they're a cog in a wheel. They just do the same process over and over again, and they could be there for 10, 15, 20 years. That process doesn't change. Orientate your mind towards the bigger machine, because the likelihood is that system doesn't work as well in Ghana. If you understand that system and are able to consult or contribute to improving certain systems or gaps, there's so many gaps in the Ghanaian market for you to, potentially do well. Despite the macroeconomic conditions, there are so many opportunities. I think my number one piece of advice is orientate your whole existence towards your move, because that's what I did. And then everything started to sprout out from that. It all started from, I know I need to earn pounds or dollars in Ghana if I'm going to live there. What skill sets are most desired? Because the most desired skill set, they'll let you work remotely for them, So just start orientating you towards that. Look at as many different sources of information. Use Kuro. There's free elements on there. If you don't want to pay, no problem. Watch the news channels on YouTube, Joy News, TV3. They'll give you a real insight as to what's going on. So it's not such a shock when you get on the ground.
That's some really good advice. And it's real, as you're living it in real time, from, people who've been there and done it. So listen, folks, all the information for Kuro Africa is right there, as always, in the description below. Just you see the title of the video, just go down, boom, it is right there. And then you can check out how you can utilize this, how you can be a part of the membership plan, the free plan, the paid plan, all the plans to just get your life in order plan. So all that information is there. Henry, thank you so much for taking the time with being me today. And thanks for the work that you're doing to just improve, Ghana and the continent, little, small, as we say.
Small. Yeah.
So we definitely appreciate it. And folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. If you love this content, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Until next time. Peace.